Hi friends, welcome to our new webinar on exploring REST API, process flow and artificial intelligence based on error handling in iPaaS. During this lockdown situation with COVID-19, we still have some of the most interesting changes in our product that we want to deliver during this lockdown period. I know this is a very hard time for everyone, and I am very thankful to everyone who has tried to attend this webinar at this point of time. Okay, my name is Abhishek Shur and I am the VP of product at InSync. I have also been Microsoft MVP and Intel Software Innovator for a long time. I have with me Devostri Paul, who is our QA expert. He is one of the few person in our group who contribute towards the making of the product from start to finish. She is talented as well as very proactive. She knows every small details of the product that we are building today. She will help you understand the features and also help me to demonstrate the in this webinar.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I thank all the attendees who are attending this webinar today, and it is my pleasure to take you all through the demos and the walkthroughs for this product. In this webinar, we are going to introduce the new features that have been introduced into our product APPSeCONNECT, and we will also give you a sneak peek into the new features that will be coming in next. So first, let us start with the agenda. In this webinar, first we will start with the introduction. I think many of the joinees who are attending this webinar today are new to the iPaaS platform. So this is a very good opportunity for you all to know what is iPaaS and how it can benefit your business. So that we all are in the same page, we will first start with what is iPaaS and the benefits of iPaaS. After that, we will take you through the different phases of integration that happens in an iPaaS product.
Yes, I can see quite a number of registrants here who are not using our product. To start with an introduction and talking about the benefits of an iPaaS platform would be a good starting point, I think, and it
Yes,
will
of
help.
course.
Yes, and it will help to their businesses. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, it is very important that as we go ahead, we should all be on the same page. So after we have given you a brief idea about what is iPaaS, we will start with the features of our platform, APPSeCONNECT. APPSeCONNECT is a product in iPaaS platform, and we will give you a brief idea of what APPSeCONNECT does. Then we will introduce you to a very interesting feature of our product that is called REST connector. Abhishek, could you please explain a little bit more about REST to all of us?
Yes, REST, I think most of you already know. It is a widely used protocol which helps developer to build APIs for information sharing. It inherently uses HTTP and hence it is commonly popular to be used in browsers and web. Most of the modern day applications or cloud solutions provide REST API. So if you use any applications which has a REST API, this feature will help you to connect them to our portfolio.
Of course, yes. REST is a very important feature in our product, and I am personally very happy with the way it has developed. It has been developed in our product. We have made connecting any REST application in the product very easy. I have used it for connecting so many applications myself, and it was so easy to use it. Just a plug and play type of application. I think it will be very easy for you also to use it.
I
What are the
bet it
next features
is.
that are coming in into this, Abhishek?
Yeah, we will see in this walkthrough about the REST APIs and how it can be connected. And the next big thing that we want to introduce here is the process flow. This is something you might not aware of, and we haven't talked about it lately.
Yes, I think those who have joined us earlier and have known us for a long time do know that we have a very good workflow feature in our AppSeConnect, which gives the user a visual representation of the data flow. Now, what could be better than that? The next change is process flow. Process flow is takes the workflow to the next level. We have completely revamped the designer for process flow. It is so easy to use and also very fun to use. You will be very excited to see it when we show it in the demo.
You're right. I'm very excited about it, and everyone in the company is equally excited, I think. And I'm sure
Yes,
customers and partners will also be excited after seeing this.
yes. I sure hope they are. And finally, we will introduce the biggest thing of this release into our product, the artificial intelligence.
Yes, the last part will be exciting, I guess, because we are adding artificial intelligence to the product for the first time, and it will help customers to connect to this solution pretty well.
Yes, artificial intelligence will add a dimension to our product which has not been seen earlier. You will get errors while syncing the data. That is known to all of us. But what are you going to do if you don't know the solution to that error? That is where this artificial intelligence will come in. It will make resolution of the error in the encounter during the sync process so easy.
Yes, yes, it is quite amazing, but still there are a lot to do in this feature. We are releasing it as beta, and over time the intelligence will improve, and the module can rank the links and produce better results.
Then going forward, let us first start with what is AppSeConnect. So as we have said earlier, AppSeConnect is an application in the iPaaS platform. What it does is that it connects two or more disparate applications together so that they can easily transfer their state from one to the another. With AppSeConnect, you will find that the data from one application can be very easily transferred to other applications, and you will also get the status updated in real time.
An integration platform is responsible to fetch data from application one. Say it fetches leads from Salesforce and then update the SAP ERP system. The main motive is to avoid human intervention to make the data available to all backend systems or all other applications that requires this lead information in real time.
Okay, so that is what iPaaS platform is in brief. But what does AppSeConnect do here?
Okay, the main benefit of AppSeConnect is it is easy, ready-made, and does not require you to write lot of code from scratch. Only thing that it needs is the APIs and the schemas, and all data will be transformed and then pushed to the target application easily through this platform.
Yes, and I think we should also mention that it supports both on-premise applications as well as cloud applications. So you don't have to be worrying about your security anymore.
Yes, it does. That means you can either use our hosted solution, which transforms the data in our servers, or you can host it yourself, which means the transactional data will be synced only on your local network and will never be transferred to our cloud services. And all these happen in real time, either using a schedule defined to execute the task, or you use webhooks on the application to make it in real time.
Yes, you are correct. It saves a lot of time and effort to create such a solution from scratch. It took us 6 years to implement this, with so many people working day in and day out. And I'm sure it was very difficult to build for all of us.
Yes, this is immense developer dependence if there is no concrete platform built on top of a business. The solution needs to be agile, flexible, secure, and error-free. And this is something which is hard to come by if you are building an application from scratch. Our solution takes care of all parameters and provide you seamless journey on a business.
Yes, so there you go. See, we took care of the problems, so you can take care of your business. Also, there are other challenges to think about. What if there are API updates? In that case, also ready-made solution will help, right?
Yes, exactly. The point is like this. Let's say you use a SaaS application, say it's Salesforce. Now Salesforce updates their TLS version from 1.0 to 1.3, or even released a more secure API stack, and they have changed the URL to, let's say, they have added a V2 section in their URL. In this case, you have to rely actually on your developer to change the solution if you are building from scratch. But in our case, these kind of changes will mean you just have to go to the application and change the URL, and that's it. You don't have to rely on
Yes.
anyone for these changes. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So it is a ready-made solution for the business problems which everyone faces in their business every day.
Right. So you can think of your entire solution, which is built for, let's say, 3 months, or let's say in 6 months, will be out of order in a single day if one API is changed.
Oh
So
my God, that's
and
a
yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah, and you can think of the error messages. If you are not aware of such a problem that may happen over time, you might miss some of the notifications too. You might find a problem a day later than the problem actually occurred.
Yes, in that case, the instant notification will help, which I think we have in our AppSeConnect, right?
Yes, yes, right. We have with the COVID-19 in the present economic scenario, people are reluctant to spend money, but still online solutions are getting purchased regularly. As most of the businesses are moving towards work from home, there is a large proliferation of SaaS solutions today. These unknown situation can happen any day, and to be prepared, we need a solution which can easily add and remove SaaS applications from the infrastructure.
Yes, and that is where a pre-built time-tested solution comes into the picture, so that the small integration related errors, which are not very easy to find, can be intimated to the customer easily, so that the business does not lose its goodwill. Let us now move into the next section of iPaaS. Now, Gartner predicts a SaaS growth of at impressive 7.9% per year. And with COVID-19 scenarios that is happening today, the SaaS adoption during this lockdown has become even bigger. If you have heard, the collaboration tool adoption has increased manyfold in the last couple of months worldwide.
Not only collaboration tools, there is a huge proliferation of CRM tools as well. Many businesses are trying out online CRM systems as well to keep up with the online businesses and many more. As per data, the annual spending towards SaaS products will be more than $71.9 billion, as Gartner said in the last.
Wow, that's huge. And all these applications that are being used, they are continuously generating data. Some of this data are important and you want them to be updated to the other applications in real time as well. Now, if we are thinking of building an iPaaS product, we might also be thinking about building Rome.
Rome was not built in a day, and the image is already depicting the same.
You are correct. In this image, it shows how the client communicates with the application and how AppSeConnect iPaaS solution retrieves the information from the correct place and pushes it to different applications.
You are right. You can see from the image there are large number of components involved. There are service bus, there are event hubs, cloud service, microservices, databases, caching, EDI solutions for partners, and many more. I think the image abstracts out a lot of internal nitty-gritties as well.
Yes, you are right. We don't want our customers to think about the architecture, but I can assure you the iPaaS solution is so much more complex from what we see from this image right now.
Yes. Basically, to make it more clear on the business perspective, if you think of two applications, app 1 and app 2, involved in an integration, the data is transferred from app 1 to AppSeConnect engine. In between there is an adapter, of course, that connects the application and stores the data in AppSeConnect, and the product transforms it using the logic coming from the cloud.
Okay, so to put it very simply, in a very simple terms, we can just say that we define everything on the cloud. Every definition is done on the cloud. The API layer retrieves them and passes it on to the agent. The agent can be on premise or on cloud, anyone which you can opt for. And then the agent will use the logic to transform the data and post it to the required application. How simple is that?
Yes, and we are using microservices for our cloud solution, an architecture that ensures if one tenant is compromised, the other tenants will be unaffected.
Yes, and one more thing about it is that all the communication between application and the cloud environments are 256-bit encrypted. We never compromise on security. Okay, so moving on, let us now see a little bit history of AppSeConnect. We are not new in building this solution. As we have said earlier, Rome was not built in a day. We are also putting brick by brick to build a solution that is robust and simple to use. Initially, we started with a solution that could only sync data between two applications. And one integration is ready, you need to create a separate independent process and build another for another two applications. That
Yes,
was a major
this was
challenge that we faced.
yes, this was a very bad solution when I think of now. Reusing the same data to multiple times while syncing the same data, you need to call the source application multiple times is not necessary sometimes.
Yes. And we also realized that the next solution is adding dependencies to the integration unit. If anyone here wants to know, we have been calling it as touch points. The dependencies on the touch points is also not giving us the desired solution. Also, we wanted to make it much more simpler than this. Hence, we started building the workflow.
Yes, okay. The workflow gives a visual representation of the integration data flow. This has helped us immensely, and now with advanced process flow designs, it is even better.
Yes, I'm very excited about the new designs that we have done, and we have renamed this as Process Flow. So Process Flow as of now has been released in beta, but yet you can still experience the power of this completely decoupled integration capability. So please try it out and let us know.
But we will not start with process flow now. It would be wise to show the REST connector ones. Then we will move towards the process.
No problem. First, let us start with REST. So REST, as many of you would know, is representational state transfer. And for us, this new feature allows us to connect any REST API in the whole wide world with just a few clicks. REST is an open standard protocol and it is very easy to understand, easy to call, and easy to consume. There are a large number of tools available in the market which support REST applications. It uses standard formats like JSON or XML to communicate data between applications.
And it is now supported by AppSeConnect natively, which means you can connect a REST API without writing a single line of code.
Sure. Now we have been talking for quite some time now, Abhishek. Let us now fire up for a demo of REST connector in AppSeConnect.
Yes, right. Okay, so here we are actually creating quickly an technology app from our application. We call it as Insightly REST app, and I'm describing it a little bit. I'm choosing the REST, and then I'm saving it. That's it. So the REST application is been created. Now I'm going to schema. Okay, so I can also change the picture of this icon if you want, and I can now go to the schema. So these are all the details of a particular version. I can change the version description as well if I want. So there are two options. One is add schema and one is import. So I'm using the import one. So I have a JSON. So I'm naming it as contacts. So if I display it, you can see all the contacts that are present in that JSON is automatically retrieved. So I'll just click on save and it creates all the schema for me. So I'm actually saving. So you can see the data type is also picked up automatically. And there are a few concepts like complex object collection and complex object. So I'll explain it later. So you can see all the contacts that have been added here. So if I go to the attributes, I can see all the attributes are listed there, and even primary key or the type of the attributes are already picked up. So you can add an action. Action is an endpoint where you want to execute an action to get a particular set of data, right? So I'm creating an action with contacts endpoint. And here you have two tabs. One is for action filter and one is for error filter. So HTTP method is get for my contacts link, and I'm choosing content type as application JSON. And there are a few header sections. So if I want, you can pick some headers as well. So let me pick some header. So I'm picking and create, and I'm choosing today. Okay. So this header will be added to the application, and I can add as many as I want. And there is parameter section, which is the query string. So I can use param1 as 25, and I can also use the response map. So if I map something, a key, so if an HTTP request is passed and if it finds the key 42 in it, it will load that data in the next node. So I can see this slash contact is already built up. So that's how you actually create a REST connection. So after that, I can go to the credential section and do whatever I feel like. Right. So that's a quick walkthrough. I know there are a lot of other things to know. Actually, you can build a ready-made solution using that application. So you can use the application in ProcessFlow, and you can use the credentials, and you can put up the credentials, and then that is ready to go. So after I show you the ProcessFlow, it would be easier to you to understand how you can use the REST connector.
Okay. So I hope you all liked it. It is very easy to configure a REST endpoint with schema and actions in AppSeConnect. To just say it in brief, there are very few steps that you have to do to use a REST connector. Just create the REST application using the REST connector, import the schema and attributes, define the actions and the filter to fetch the data as per your need, and you are now all set to use your brand new REST application for integration with any other applications. That's it. So now coming back to our next feature, let us now start with the process flow. So what is a process flow, Abhishek? Please take us through that.
Yes. So what is a process flow? Unlike the workflows which we have seen in the demos in past few months, I mean past few years, I guess. A process flow is actually a free-flowing interface. There is no restriction on what node you are going to choose for transferring data. It's a completely decoupled architecture. A drag and drop designer allows the implementer to quickly integrate between two or more applications, generate notifications, etc.
Yes, process flow actually is a one-stop solution for developing an integration. You don't need to go to multiple areas for developing it. You can find the designer, the deployment, and the execution option directly within the designer. So you just design it, deploy it, and execute it. Simple as that. And while you execute it, the process flow will also show the progress and also the required details that you will need to debug a problem if you encounter.
Yeah, no more code debugging, because you do not need to install any software to use an integrated solution like this. It is completely web based, and you just need to open a browser to develop an integration solutions.
Yes, that's a very cool feature. It is also because working with process flows makes life so much easier and saves a lot of time. I know it because I have worked with the previous version, that is workflow. In process flow, the data is free flowing and it follows the design once and deploy anywhere principle.
The functionality that the new process flow provides really makes users feel to develop. The nodes are linked to apps, and apps are linked to environment. While an environment is linked to credentials, which connects the physical apps.
But the best thing about this new feature is that it is completely decoupled. So, as you know, in our growth in this last all these years, we are not going to stop here. We will keep on adding more and more features. But even if we keep on adding more and more features, everything you build will remain unaffected.
Yes, another important feature that I want to highlight here is the data snapshots. It gives you a tool where you can go in past and check whatever happened in the execution. This is a wizard that gives you each and every information on what happened during the time you are looking at.
Yes, and also if you are when you are syncing the data, you see that some have failed, which is very natural to happen during a sync process. There is also the option to get it auto fixed. The errors are generated and they are automatically picked up by the platform to retry automatically. No more manual intervention needed. The failed errors are filtered out and taken up for retry automatically in APPSeCONNECT.
Hence if you want to summarize, the main business advantage of using ProcessFlow is like this. It is very user friendly, less time to develop. It focuses on data and not metadata. That means you can focus only on how you want the data to be transformed from one application to another, and do not need to learn the nitty-gritties of an integration platform. The designer is futuristic as it induces artificial intelligence into it. All the prepackaged applications are there in the toolbar, and you can visually execute a process flow and see how the data is flowing from one place to another in real time.
Yes. The designer also allows the user to directly access deployment from within the designer. Once a process flow has been designed, it can be deployed in more than one environments.
Yes, the environment is also a microservice based solution which leverages the base technical architecture to give you the best solution possible. All the data flowing from one application to another is written in to a persistent storage, and it is encrypted and then stored, ensuring security at both rest and motion. There is there is also an end-to-end encryption uh, applied to encrypt the sensitive data.
Yes. So security, as I've said earlier, is of paramount importance to us. But not only security, we have also concentrated on a very important aspect of data sync. That is, you who are using the process flow for execution of data sync for your business will be in complete control of the sync process. That means that a user has the flexibility to choose whether the execution should happen manually, or they can also schedule to run it at a fixed time as per their need. They are the ones who can decide how many times in a day the sync process should be executed. So if we want to talk about the different phases of integration, the processes are divided into mainly three phases: design, deploy, and manage. In the design phase, the endpoints are investigated so that the data flow can be determined. It is the planning phase where the endpoints are minutely considered and a design is made of how the data should flow from one application to another.
Yes. After the integration points are identified, the integration developer does all the communication logic. This will be done through the designer itself. The mapping is also an important step to consider.
Yes, mapping is their very important step. Mapping is to transform the data as per the application into which it will be pushed. So after mapping is done, the only step left is to deploy and execute. The deployment step is very easy. There is a wizard which will guide you through all the steps. And you all have to do is just follow the steps mentioned in the wizard. Abhishek, if you could please take us through the steps that are there in the wizard for our process flow deployment.
Yeah, so the steps are like this. You have to just select a agent, provide credential, specify details of an environment specific data, provide a scheduler information, and boom, you are done.
Wow, that's very easy. So once you have deployed and are also executing the process flow, what comes next? The next phase is the maintenance phase. This is when we run the process flow over time, and because of the sync that is happening over time, minor data issues may occur, or also because the way the data flows from one application to another application, the logic may be needed to be changed. So, do we have any provision to take care for that?
Yes, here in this phase, the logs are generally analyzed as Devosti has also already mentioned. The snapshot will help the developer immensely to find appropriate errors that occur during this sync operation. The snapshots are generally linked with a retry window, and finding proper explanation is very easy with advanced tools.
Yes, we have also provided the feature that environment can be monitored on the network bandwidth, disk space, data throughput, and rules can be configured so that any discrepancy that happens will trigger a notification. There is also an option to provision or deprovision environments so that old unused environments can be tore down and reused elsewhere.
Yeah, the dashboard widgets also gives you special notification and information about the usage statistics, as we all know, and other graphs which helps in monitoring the solution easily.
Okay, now it is time for us to go through the walkthrough for a process flow.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see in this menu there is a process flow and there is a home and trash button. So I'm creating a process flow on the fly here. So I'm choosing the start node, and after that I'm choosing Magento. So if I choose Magento, I have to put some details. So I'm picking up the details. App version, protocol is REST because that is the REST adapter. So I'm picking the customer. So what I'll do, I'll get customer through this Magento node. So now I'm using SAP B1. So here I'll also name it something, and it is the post operation. So I'm pushing the data from Magento to SAP B1. So I'm using DI server object, and it is O business partner. You can, if you know SAP B1, customer is called O business partner here. So in between there is a mapper node. Mapper node is actually does the transformation between Magento and SAP. So I have to save it. Just a minute. So after I save, I can open this configuration. So it opens up the mapping window. So you can see there is a tree which actually shows the entire mapping. So there is a for each loop, and inside it I'm picking up a node which is card code. So I'm putting a card code for an unique identification. So I'm concatenating W with ID of coming from Magento. So it will be W110113, and there is an email ID which is the mandatory field I have to put. And there are card names. So if I want to pick a card name, so that's the first name plus last name. So that's a simple mapping that I'm doing here, and now I'm going to deploy it. So you can see there is a wizard, as I've told you, and I'm picking up this on-premise solution and I'm refreshing it because I have just installed this. Now if I click on next, yes, the credentials. So I've already put credentials in of my on-premise agent, so I'm just picking up them. And here is the scheduler that we have talked about. I'm keeping it as manual. You can select any schedule you want, but I'm picking up the manual. So that finish. So after I finish, you can see the workflow is done. Now what I do is I'll execute this workflow, so which is already deployed. So you can see it's getting executed, and the YOLO line depicts that the node is getting executed and it's done. There is a tracker window which actually tracks the execution. And if I go to the environment, you can see there are three menu items. One is for undeploy and another is snapshot. So I'm opening up the snapshot. If I go to start, I can see the activity log that happened there. In data log, there is no data, so it actually executes. In mapping also, there is no data, so I'll have to create data to actually execute this process. Otherwise, that's fine. So you can see, so I have actually executed a workflow and the things are done. So let's get back to uh, the slides again.
Okay. Thank you, Abhishek, for that demo. So to recap it once again for all of you, process flow use is very easy. We have lot of prepackaged application that you can use for integration. And even if you don't have a prepackaged application, we are also going to come up with applications that you can create on your own within process flow. So how cool is that? So what you need to do is just select the application, the source and the destination, that is the two applications between which you want to sync the data, do the mapping as per your need, deploy it using the wizard which will guide you through the steps, choose on-premise or hosted agent as per your choice, and just then execute it and leave all tension to us and just take care of your business. Now, moving on, we are now going to introduce the biggest feature as of now in our product, that is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the buzzword nowadays, so how could we stay back? In APPSeCONNECT, we have used artificial intelligence for error handling of the sync process during the data sync of two applications. So what is artificial intelligence? Abhishek, could you please take us through that?
Yeah, so artificial intelligence, or more specifically machine learning that we are using here, is a concept that tracks each and every data and executes an algorithm and creates a model. So it's like if you have the model, you can predict something. So that's what we are doing as well. So there is a history of data that is prepared for all the error messages, and we have created a model to give you predictions. This this is the basic funda of machine learning actually. As APPSeCONNECT, errors are very common because it's an integration platform, and each and every developer wanted to address these errors. We thought of adding AI to typically classify errors to special buckets and pick up based help document for that bucket. Even if we talk about one solution, the inclusion of AI into the product will change the way people communicate with the machines, or even get better insights about the common problems over time.
Right. So can we have a walkthrough for the AI that is
Yes,
there in our
before we
product as of
do
now?
before we do the walkthrough, there is the AI-based note suggestion as well inside the designer, which we have already shown. I think
Oh,
when
yes.
we dragged a component, there is a feature which actually shows up what could be the next node for the designer. So it helps
Yes.
you to save time immensely, and also requires less learning curve, because our solution is actually provide you what next you have to do in the solution, so that if you pick up an application, the next thing you might want to do is either select a splitter to split that data, or you can